Hello and welcome back to another Thursday afternoon of Realty Talk. We are excited for a couple reasons. We have quite a few people on today's training, so we're always excited about that. And then also our subject for today's Realty Talk is titled Gold in the Palm of Your Hands. And we have none other than our broker and owner, who will be presenting for us today. And so that is Mr. and Mrs. Porter. And without any delay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to you all. Thank you for taking your time out to share with us this afternoon.
You are so welcome, Anita. Thank you for that introduction, and good afternoon to everybody on the line. We are so excited to have you guys with us here today. We know it is Holy Week, so we have rescheduled our evening training for next week. So we thank you for you guys joining us on Realty Talks. We really want to give you guys some nuggets that you can utilize over the holiday and every single day. Okay, so what we're talking about today, the title might be new to you, but the topic is not. We're going back to some of the basic things that work no matter what the market says. And we want you guys to be empowered and embrace what it is that we're talking about today, because it works. It is a timeless, proven method. And we just want to go back and dig up some of that so as to give you guys the fuel that you need to get to your 23 and 2023. Okay. So we'll go ahead and move forward with today's training. The topic is gold in the palm of your hands. Can anybody tell me what you think we're talking about when we say gold in the palm of your hands? If you had to take a guess, where would gold manifest in the palm of your hands?
So I thought about what we were talking about, our business cards.
That's a very good thought. Anybody else?
Yeah, I was way off talking. I was thinking about Gold Bond medicated hand cream. Is that not what?
Mr. Porter, that is not what we're talking about. Does anybody else want to take a guess? I see somebody put something in the chat.
I'd say our cell phones.
Yes, both Curtis and Talita said cell phone. Anybody else? All right, you guys are on point. You guys are on point. And Mr. Porter, you can definitely use the Gold Bond, cream. So that way, when you're talking to people and you're passing out business cards, you get rid of all the ash. So that works well too. That being said, guys, we have one of the most powerful tools, the most powerful pieces of technology that we can utilize in real estate in the palm of our hands every single day, right? Because while the season is, warming up and we may be taking off layers of clothes, like Anita stated, we don't go anywhere without our phones, right? So with that being said, every person that you meet, every person that you have met, your goal is to make sure that you are stacking those bars of gold by having every single person's contact information directly in your cell phone. And what is that going to do for you by having those people's information in your cell phone? Anybody want to take a guess? And it's obvious. I just want to make sure that we revisit this information so that it's solidified and everybody's on the same page. So there is no trick question to what I'm asking. See somebody putting something in the chat. D, you said phone as well? Yes. All right. So if you had a moment to guess and you didn't think right offhand, putting their information in your cell phone now includes them for you into your pipeline. You can add them to your book of business. Now you have their contact information so that you can reach out to them anytime you need to, guys. We've done this text campaign and it needs to be a part of what we do on a consistent basis. We did it partially at the beginning of the year, but based on the feedback that we're getting, we really need to revisit that for each one of our Realty pros. All right. Last year, when we did that text campaign, and the year before, when everybody was committed to that text campaign, each and every last one of you who did it got referrals, got business, settlements, clients, and all type of activity just from the people in your cell phone. So with that being said, the gold in the palm of your hand that we're speaking to, these are the people that you already know, the people that already know, like, and trust you. And we've had this conversation before, and it bears repeating. 70% of your business will come from your sphere of influence. So if 70% of your business is going to come from your sphere of influence, and your goal is to have 23 settlements in 2023, 70% of those are going to come from people who already know, like, and trust you. So with the revelation of such a simple truth, it really helps to make us focused on where to spend the majority of our time. Okay. In real estate, there are so many different marketing endeavors, and all of them are effective. The goal is not to do every last one of them. It's to hone in, be specific, and be diligent and committed to the ones that you select. But this is one that no matter what you layer on top of it, this is to remain consistent day in and day out, week, month, year after year, because this is what's going to establish a firm foundation, as we've talked about for this year, establishing our presence and solidifying our position. So when you look to grow a real estate business, the first people that you want to think about when they think about real estate are all the people that know you, right? I want each and every last one of us, your challenge today is to go through your cell phone. You're going to have a couple different challenges today. So one of our leaders type them in the chat as we give them out, and we are going to follow up with you guys. We want you to post your progress into the WhatsApp group chat. But your first challenge is going to be to go through your cell phone, take a look at every person's name in there, and ask yourself, does this person know that I am a real estate professional? And if this person were to buy a home, am I sure that this person would call me? That's the question that I want you to ask yourself, okay? Because from that perspective, we have a responsibility, right? And our responsibility is to follow up, to stay in front of everybody in our sphere of influence. That way, when they go to buy a home, sell a home, lease a home, invest, to, increase their real estate portfolio, get into real estate, or whatever it is they desire to do, if it's in any way related to real estate, they should be thinking of your name. And in order to make that happen, there's a responsibility on our part to make sure that we are touching these people. We've talked about it before, but it bears repeating as many times as necessary until we see it come to fruition with each and every last one of our Realty pros. You got to touch those people at least 33 times per year. That means several times in a month, right? And a mere phone call and a text message directly from you is so powerful, guys. Especially in this world where social media and everything is digital, and people have avatars and they have so many different layers to separate themselves from actually communicating with a physical live person. A telephone call is very, very powerful. A text message that's directly from you is very powerful because it's doing a number of things for you. Of course, it's going to help to benefit you and your book of business, but that person that you're calling, now they know that someone is thinking about them, right? So when you call that person, you're calling and you're genuinely checking in with that person, and you check on them. You say, we can throw a name out there. Let's just use, let's use Kermon's name as an example. Kermon, how are you? How have you been? How is the family? I'm checking on you. And you guys know us, we don't make any bones about who we are. We would ask, is there anything that we can pray for you regarding? Right? What are your goals in 2023? And what are your real estate goals in 2023? How can I help you to meet those goals? Were you able to take advantage of the market, throughout COVID and buying or selling your home? There's so many different ways that you can go with that conversation, but the origin of that conversation has to be genuine, coming from a genuine place of care for that person. And people aren't fooled by that. You really call and you have a real conversation with them, because once people know how much you care, then they will care how much you know. But they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Okay. So connect with people, be human. We are all real people. And especially with everything that's been going on over this last 3 years, we're coming out of a pivotal period for the entire world. And we really got to reconnect and grab hold of people that may have slipped away for the last couple of years. Let them know that, hey, we know, it's been a very trying time for the whole world, but guess what? Somebody is still thinking about you, and you are very important to me. You're important to my business. I need your help. How can I help you? And you simply have these conversations with people, guys. Let me ask you this question. If you received a call, and I want at least 2 people to answer this, if you received a call from somebody that you hadn't spoken with in the last 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, and they called and they were thinking about you and they gave anywhere near kind of the line of conversation that I just shared with you guys, what would your response be? And I'll rephrase that. How would you respond to a call from somebody that you know? And D, I see you're putting in the chat, thanks for thinking about me. So happy to hear from you. I see your messages. Who else? What's the point of me asking that question? The point of me asking that question is to remove the fear of you thinking that, oh, well, if I call this person, how are they going to receive me, right? When you receive a call like that, I don't know a single person that I've ever known that is, that would not like to receive such a call. People are not opposed to hearing from people that they already know. In fact, it's a benefit. It is a blessing. It really helps people to know that they matter and they are valued by you. Okay. So from that perspective, you're going to look through your phone. But before I continue with the slides that we have today, Mr. Porter, if you had something that you wanted to include there, I want to give you a chance to.
So good afternoon, everybody. I think that one of the most important things that you're talking about, but I don't know if we're saying it directly, and I just want to say it directly, guys. The most important thing that you sell in real estate is not a home, it's yourself. And one of the best ways to sell yourself, and what Jasmine is trying to allude to, is just creating a relationship. When you build relationships with people, it takes on a unique context. So when we're saying reach out to your sphere of influence, these are people that you already know. These are people that might be members of your family. These might be people that are in your fraternities, sororities, go to your church. Somebody might have invited you to a barbecue. However you know that person, they're within your hands. You know them, I don't. Okay, we might know some of the same people. For the most part, your sphere of influence is yours and mine is mine. Now what we have to do is find ways to establish and build relationships with them as expert salespeople. So building those relationships can come in many forms. So when we talk about the text campaign, the first text that I send out every year is, hey, family. And I call everybody family. I act as if I've known them forever. They're part of my family. They're part of the Porterhouse family, part of my family. Hey, family, it's 2023. And as usual, I'm updating my emails and my emails, telephone numbers, contacts. Want to make sure I still have the best information for you. Also, by the way, what's your birthday? And when is your anniversary if you have one? All of this information I'm pulling from them, and they're going to send back, hey, how you doing? Good to hear from you. Haven't talked to you since last year. My information has changed. It's the same. I moved. I did XYZ. Whatever those things are, I'm building relationships. I tell you often, one of the most important times of my day is at 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, anybody that knows me knows that I'm calling people in my phone just to reach out, just to say hi. Sometimes I'm checking on people, and I'm always going to end up getting to real estate in some way, shape, or form. But if I call 5 or 6 people a day, I hand out 7 to 10 business cards a day, I'm making a whole lot of contacts. And it's real easy. And everybody can't do what I do. But one thing that everybody can do is continue to build the relationships with the people that you already have, so that they not only know that you're in real estate, but they know that you're an expert, they know that you care about them, and they know that you're going beyond just trying to have a relationship with them for the sake of doing business, but just having a relationship. Like Jasmine just said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And the majority of the success that Jasmine and I have shared, and the majority of the agents that I know, many of you really know the people who you're selling to or buying from, or have been referred by people who really know you and really trust you just as a person. Not even necessarily knowing your expertise in real estate, but just as a person, they know that you're good people, as they say. And you want to be good people. And you want to make sure that you're making contacts with good people and letting good people know, hey, I still do this business. If you have any goals in real estate, I don't want you going to anybody else. Make sure you're working with somebody that you like, trust, and believe. That's me. So that's what I wanted to jump in there. I just wanted to, make sure that we're bridging that gap, that we're talking about building relationships, and we're giving you strategies that are very easy strategies that whereby you can start to rekindle, build, and remember, our goal for this year is establishing and stabilizing. So if you haven't established a relationship, you need to establish that relationship. If you have a relationship, you want to stabilize that relationship. But you can't do it if you don't have ways of reaching out to people. So just pay attention. We're just giving you some simple strategies, and you might come up with some others. And if you do, put them in the chat. That's going to help you easily make contact with people, reestablishing yourself with them, and establishing and stabilizing your relationships so that you can build your business. Go ahead, Jasmine.
Thank you for jumping in with that. And just like Mr. Porter said, plainly put, we're building relationships. All right. So let it be known, the people that you're serving, they are not just a number. They are not just a transaction. They're people that you actually care about. So that's the way that we handle people. All right. So in your phone, guys, I want you guys to drop in the chat, how many contacts do you have in your phone? If you had to take a guess, take a guess. If you can actually verify. But I'm going to continue to go through our information for today, but I want for everybody to drop the number of contacts in your phone, right? Because what we're going to do, we're going to break those down. And one day you're going to do maybe A through G. The next day you'll do maybe H through N, and so forth and so on. And you're going to send a text message to each person in that group. And all of our agents who've been here for at least a year, you know that there are various tools that you can use to do that. Kristen, I see you. Thank you. Kristen said 165. There are various tools that you can use to do it. I know we've used, what is it, A to Z? Aurelia, if you're on the line, you can tell us what the name of that was, A to Z. You can send it through Boomtown. You can send it through different features on your phone whereby you're not sending one text per person, you're sending a message that goes to the whole group, but it appears as if it's just going to that one individual, right? Because nobody wants to receive a group chat with 200 people on it and everybody's responding. So let us be mindful that the way that we do it is going to be one that's convenient for the people that we want to engage, so that they know it's coming from you and they'll respond to you, okay? So we're going to be putting before the end of the day, we're going to be putting that message into the group chat. And we want every single person to copy it and save it to your notes in your phone. We want you to go in it and make the tone sound like you, right? Mr. Porter has a very different tone than I do. And that is what the people that are in his sphere of influence are going to expect when they get a message from him. If I get a message from somebody and it doesn't sound like their tone, then right offhand, you'll be suspicious. I say that because the content that we're including in this message is going to be very important in order for you to get the effective results that we're looking for. You just want to make sure it sounds like you, right? So ours will say, hey, family, yours might say, hey, Josh, you know what I mean? Or hi, Josh, how are you? Or however it is that you communicate with people, just update it, put your name, put your picture. And it's always a good idea with these messages to include your electronic business card at the bottom of it. That way people have no question as to who's sending this message to them, okay? Mr. Porter talked about updating, of course, your email address, because in order for them to be included in your book of business and for you to have 33 touches, you need an email address, right? And I wouldn't be saying this if everybody we knew we already had email addresses for. I see you, Josue, you said 116. Tetuan, I see you said 102. Who is that? That said 995. Let's see, that's you, Tier. I see you. I see you, Paula, 223. Excellent. So I see you guys putting all the people that you have currently in your cell phones. So this is our starting point. And for those of you who've done this activity before, kudos to you, because now you're going to go from one level to the next level. And this is what progression looks like. You build, as you know, this year we're talking about establishing your presence and solidifying your position. And that's the way that you do it. Build on something that you've already started before. Who is that? That says 3,000 plus. Is that you, D. Richardson? D. Richardson has 3,000 plus. Aurelia is 616. Angela 1698. Darlene 1337. You guys are on the roll, right? Because when we go through our business planning and we talk about the numbers, making it easy, breaking down the numbers for you, there's something very imperative in there that we share. And we talk about the importance of the number of contacts that you have. So when Mr. Porter is talking about using your electronic business card for prospecting and simply texting it or emailing it to people, that way you automatically have their contact information, that is adding people to your book of business. And we know for every 12 contacts that you make, you're going to get a lead. And for every 5 leads you get, you're going to have 1 client. So we're going to have you guys to take the numbers that you currently have and break those numbers down. Divide it by 12 and divide that by 5. And that's going to tell you the amount of clients that you currently have in the palm of your hand today before you do anything different. Take the number that you have in your phone, divide it by 12, and that tells you how many contacts you need to make in order to get a client. You take that number and divide it by 5, because every 5 leads is going to give you 1 client. So that is the goal that is currently in the palm of your hands. And that's without you having to do anything or pay for any media outlets in order to generate those leads. This is something free. You guys are already paying your cell phone bills every month. You already are who you are, so you don't have to expend any additional resources on generating those leads. All you have to do is be diligent to go and make those calls, to send those text messages, and to actually follow up with people when they respond. Okay? So just like we said, you may have 1,300, you may have 300. The goal is not for you to send out 1 text message today, because that could become very overwhelming. If you have, at least, you have to determine what that looks like for you, because it's going to look different if you have 3,000 contacts versus having 100 contacts. If you have 100 contacts, then okay, great. Well, you can send out, A through maybe N today, because only you know how many that's going to be. But the point and the matter that I'm making is allow yourself time to follow up with those people and be responsive, right? One of the things that we do in developing system is that we have these messages that are systems, because you just copy it and you send it to one person. And then you have responses. Your responses, you have multiple responses. If the person says yes, or if they say no, then you have another system whereby you simply copy, you put that person's name in there and you send it to them, so that it's not taking you having to develop a whole text campaign. Everything that we're doing is available to you guys, and it has been around since our inception. So we want you to grab hold of it and not overlook the gold that is in the palm of your hands. Okay? So as we continue, we'll talk about the ones on social media. We'll talk about the ones in your constant contact and in your boomtown as well. But for today, we're going to focus on the people that you actually have access to right from your cell phone. Okay? Now let's talk about how expansive this list can be, right? When we're doing it as effectively as we're able to, this is how effective this list can be. Because I'm almost willing to guarantee that not one of us on this line has a telephone number, email address, home address, anniversary, and birth date for every single person we know. I would probably be willing to wager a very serious bet that not one of us has all of this information for every person we know. What does that mean? That means that's a great opportunity. We all have a starting point. So let's start from where we are today. Consider the people that you define as your sphere of influence. Who are these people? Again, this is no trick question because this is information that we are aware of and we're building upon it. We're building upon it so we get to the point where now we've mastered it and now we can go to new levels and new heights. Our family, every single person in your family, you should endeavor to have their contact information. If you don't, what can you do? You can send a message to grandma, to cousin, to auntie, to friend, to, ex, whomever, to, hey, I was thinking about this person and noticed that I didn't have their contact information. Would you shoot me the contact information for this person? Make a list, be intentional. Think about every single person that you know of in your family. Those are both close and distant. Why? You break down barriers with that. They already know you. They already like you and they're going to trust you as well because they're a part of your family, right? With that being said, there are going to be many people that we will meet in our prospecting endeavors, people that we'll go out and have conversations with, but there are barriers that you overcome when you do that. And that is getting them to know, like, and trust you. And we're aware that that's an essential component for what it is that we do in real estate and sales in general. But let us put the priority where it belongs, on the source that is going to yield 70% of your business. These people that already know, like, and trust you. Okay. So then your friends afterwards.
Could I jump in there, Jasmine?
Yes, you may.
Because everybody hasn't heard the story that I like to tell about this guy who joined our brokerage. And he was a new guy and he had all these numbers in his phone, and we were setting up his home snap. And this was back when Jasmine used to let me haze people when they came through the way she used to haze me. And so this guy, he was sitting there with his phone, and he had one of them Android phones. So it was hard too. But anyway, make a long story short, Home Snap has a technology where you can just invite everybody to be your client. And I selected all. And he was like, please don't push that button. And I was like, why not? He's like, it's people in this phone that don't like me. And I said, well, that's too bad for them. I said, because they're about to be your client. He said, I don't want you to push that button. And so we had some conversation about it. And I talked about, I said, what if that one person who you think would never buy from you end up talking about you to 10, 11 people, and 2 of those people buy a house from you or something of that nature? I just kind of tried to convince him that it was really important just to go ahead and push that button. Yeah, you might have people in your phone that don't like you, that you haven't spoken to in years, that things might have happened. But when it comes down to business, it's not personal. And that's kind of what I was alluding to him the whole time. And eventually he told me to go ahead and press the button. And I pressed the button. And I think he got some business off of me pressing that button. But you guys have to be willing to overcome your fears in order to do business. Again, it's not personal, it's business. And if one of those people who don't like you end up talking to you, I had a person that I thought we were friends, but they were kind of jealous about what I was doing in business, and their significant other was doing business, and they talked about me amongst a sphere of friends that we had in common. Well, people came back and told me, and fortunately for me, they ended up working with me and not him and his people, because people just don't like when you kind of try to tear somebody down. And then a lot of times when people who you might think don't want to be involved with you, if they hear that you're doing something good, or if they hear that you're having some type of success and they actually need you, they'll reach out to you. They'll reach out to you. So don't be afraid. I want you all to overcome fears. I'm always going to push you across that line to do something that is scary and hairy, because if I hadn't done those things, we wouldn't be talking to you right now. And I know that there's a success on the other side of your fear. You just got to get past it. So don't be afraid to reach out to those distant people, those people who you haven't spoken to. Just push the button, send the text message, and see what happens.
That was very valuable insight, Mr. Porter. Thank you for sharing that. Guys, grab hold of this information.
And I never mentioned Kermon's name one time. I'm sorry.
Not until that point. But that was very valuable insight, guys. And I'm going to challenge you today that no matter how many times you hear this information, allow your heart to remain open and your mind to remain open to grow. Because it's easy to say, oh, I've heard that before, let me tune out and let me go ahead and, think about something else. But there's a purpose behind revisiting this information, right? Because if we were mastering this and we were nailing it to the point where there was no need to revisit it, we wouldn't be. So let us embrace it, because no matter where you are, there's always growth. There's always progression. Even when you get to the point where you're doing, like we were at a point where we were doing 60 to 100 transactions, every single year. And this was just the norm, even there's room to grow. You can get 200 to 300 transactions. Even when you get to the point you do that, you can get to 400 or 500 transactions. And no matter what you do, the basics are what's going to take you over, right? Because there's so many bells and whistles that you can add to it. But the proof is in the pudding, and these timeless, tried and true methods that we're talking about, they work in any market. So grab hold of this, guys, your sphere of influence. Let's talk about those friends that you need to reconnect with. Have a phone call, right? Do you have contact information for everybody that you're friends with in your phone? I dare say that there are people whose information we don't have. Even if you have a telephone number, I dare say that there's some addresses that we don't have, right? In our marketing endeavors, there's several ways that we're going to reach out to people. For today, we're talking about the gold in the palm of our hands, which is our cell phone, texting those people, calling those people, having conversations with those people. But as we go down the line, and as we've talked about before, it's no stranger for Porterhouse, this symphony of our prospecting approach, where you are adding emails and you are adding mailers and you're adding your networking events and all these things to it, you're going to need that home address, so that now you can actually send out cards. You can send out a thank you card, a thinking of you card, a happy birthday card, or whatever the case may be. But this is a very intentional approach that we're taking to collecting this information from the people that we know, okay? Even your acquaintances, right? This is probably the most prominent time of any time in my lifetime that it is essential to connect with people and to have conversations with people, let them know that you are thinking of them, because coming out of what we all just went through, it is just essential to people's emotional well-being, mental well-being, and overall health to know that they matter and know that somebody is actually thinking about them. So your call can do way more than you think your call could ever have done. So those acquaintances, you getting their contact information, you getting their, anniversary. Hey, I want to make sure that I include you, in the celebration information that I send out for people's anniversaries and their birthdays. I want you to know that I'm thinking of you too. And I want to make sure that you get that, that piece of, the celebration for that moment. That matters to people, guys. Your colleagues, everybody that you've worked with. If you're currently dual career, you have colleagues that you work with now. If you're currently full-time, you have colleagues that you work with in the past. The bottom line there is that we all have colleagues. We have people that we've gone to school with, anybody that we've made a connection with in any arena of our life. These are people that are amongst those in our sphere of influence. So this information gathering portion and connecting and building that contact is where we are now. And that, I assure you, if your business is not currently established, it will be established. If you're working to solidify it, it will be solidified. If you're looking to, progress it and take it to the next level, this will absolutely do that for you. So collect this information from everybody that you go to church with, wherever you go. If you go to a baseball stadium, if you go to a barber shop, listen, if you go to a grocery store, a gas station, wherever it is that you frequent, and you see those people and you've met them before, if you've given them a friendly smile, a hello, a thank you, or anything, you want to be intentional about making those connections, establishing those relationships, and collecting that contact information. Why am I saying that? Let's do a quick exercise. So for the people that I have in the chat, I want for 3 of you to give me the number of clients that you currently have in the palm of your hands. And how are we going to do that? I'm going to choose D. I'm going to choose Paula. I'm going to choose, let's see. All right, D, Paula, Darlene, Aurelia. Actually, and Angela. So each one of you get ready.
Yes.
The number of contacts that you have, I want you to take your contacts and divide them by 12. And then I want you to take that number and divide it by 5. And then I
Okay.
want you to type the answer into the chat. So we're going to start with these 5. And once they've done it, then I want everybody afterwards. The number of contacts that you currently have in your phone, divide it by 12. Take that number and divide it by 5. And I'm ready for you. And you go ahead and drop it in the chat. D, is that 50? You're quick, D. I love that. That's 50. So if that's the case, D. Richardson, you have 50 clients in your phone as we speak. Because for every 12 contacts, you'll get 1 lead. And for every lead, every 5 leads, you'll get 1 client. So that means in terms of gold in the palm of your hands, you have an opportunity to just groom your sphere of influence in a way that you've just knocked your 2023 goals out of the water. Do you guys hear what it is that we're saying? Let's see, who else? Angela, you have 28 clients waiting on you in your phone. Who else? Let's see, Paula, you have 3.71 clients waiting on you in your phone. Let's take this a step further, right? We know that the average sales price is about $444. You know what, Josue, drop yours in there too. Let's see, we have, drop that in there. There you go. $444,000 roughly is about the average sales price for properties in Maryland. So your commission at 3%, that gives you about 13,000. What is it? 13,320. Let me just do that number for you real quick. Yep, 13,320. So take that 13,320 and multiply it by the number that you guys got. So I'm going to start with Aurelia. I see you have 10 in there. I'm going to take that 10 and multiply it by that 13,320. You have $133,200 waiting for you in the palm of your hands. Okay, somebody else, let's do your numbers. All right, let's see, Angela, you have 28. You have $372,960 waiting for you in the palm of your hands. Who's next? Paula? You have $49,417 waiting for you in the palm of your hands. And we can keep going, guys. I want for every last one of you to do this exercise today, and I want to see your results in the chat. Your total contacts, you take those contacts divided by 12, take that number divided by 5. That's how many clients you have. Multiply that by the average commission, 13,320. And that's going to tell you the amount of gold that you have waiting on you in the palm of your hands today. And that's without having to pay for a single marketing piece, not having to do anything in order to get that. So let us be very intentional, guys. Who else? Darlene, that's 23. That's your 23 and 2023 right there. You have 306,000. What is that? $360 waiting on you today in the palm of your hands, guys.
Hey, Jasmine, before, we're running out of time real quick, but while people are still putting in their contact, can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Guys, this is really exciting. I love the way Jasmine does this because the numbers are important. But the reason why she can do this is because she is an expert in providing value. So what am I talking about? Well, number one, I just said, earlier, I said, make sure you build relationships, right? You want to build relationships, but that's not a one and done thing. The way you convert these people into actual clients, you have to kind of go through this 5-step process, and I'm gonna give them to you real quick. The first is to build a relationship. Then the second is to stay in touch and be consistent in your communication with people. And that's building that relationship. The third is being able to do what Jasmine is doing right now, providing value. How do you provide value? In order to do that, you have to stand out from everybody that your sphere of influence knows when it comes to real estate. Okay. It is important to provide value to your contacts, to share industry insights. You can give them helpful tips about, on getting ready to sell their home, or if they're preparing to buy, or if they need help building their credit. You have to be able to provide some of that value that leads them down the path to either home ownership or being prepared to sell their home. All right. You can keep them on top of relevant information that's coming in the industry. You all get the Realtor magazines. I see them in your mailbox. Some of you haven't picked them up. Just to thumb through them to see what's interesting to you. It's a ton of things on social media. I don't know what you're scrolling through, what you're looking at, but you need to shift your focus and try to find things that are relevant to the industry, things that tickle your fancy. You might want to share those tidbits to people so that they can then give you a call. This is providing value. You might want to send out something that's interesting that's going on in the market in general that's going to affect the real estate market. A lot of people come to me and talk about Airbnbs. Well, they need to purchase a property. They want to purchase a property. They need to talk to me. These are things that I do to provide value to them. The other thing is you want to make sure that number 4 is leveraging those referrals. Okay, referrals are just people that you know, okay? And that people that you know are giving you or talking about you to somebody else, all right? You wanna make sure that you not only have people talking about you, but you wanna make sure that you reach back to some of the people who you've already sold properties to, or you've already helped them sell their house, and say, hey, do you mind if I get a referral from you? Do you mind giving me 5 stars on Google to boost my rating? All of these things are important, and they add up in dollars to leveraging referrals. And again, these are just different things that you can talk about with people over time. Building that relationship, staying consistent, providing value for yourself by knowing what's going on in the industry, by being able to talk to people about what it is that you do, by being able to explain to people how they can afford a mortgage. But if you don't have a mortgage yourself and you've never sat through one of my buyer seminars, you might not know how a person can afford a mortgage. All right. And the most important thing of all, Jasmine said it, you can't do what I do the way I do it. I can't do what Jasmine does the way she does it. You must be authentic. And that's number 5. Be yourself all the time, because it's hard to code switch. When people get to know who you are, or they catch you at a barbecue and they see how you are, and if they can't picture you in their mind as still being their real estate person, or being their investor, or helping them invest, or what have you, they're not going to make that connection with you. So it's important to be authentic, but be authentic in knowing the market and knowing what happens. People talk to me all the time. A guy could be walking down the street. I see he has his own business. And I'll ask him, I say, how are you leveraging your business and building your business credit? And you'll be surprised at how many business owners don't know how to do some of the things that we've been talking about. Just getting their LLC and using the LLC to then go out and open a bank account, getting the bank account and the business names to start establishing credit in business. That's just the simple stuff. Even if you don't know that much about it, you can just say, that's what I'm doing. You make that contact. Now you've provided value of yourself. Now they have to call you. Now they want to know what you know. Well, my broker, my owner, Mr. Porter, he always talks to us about building our personal credit. How is your credit right now? Well, I'm a 540. Man, you a 540. I got to at least get you to a 620. Do you own your own home? I start a conversation like that all the time. No, I don't own my own home because I need to get my credit straight. Well, the first thing I'm gonna do is help you get your credit straight, but you gotta promise me. I'll do it for free, but you promise me once I get you pre-approved, you gotta make sure that you buy a house this year. It's just that simple. And most people still need help with their credit. Many of you still need help with your credit, and some of you haven't even called me so we can start working. But you gotta call me. But anyway, those are the things. I provide value to you guys. I want you to be able to provide value. I want it to work for you so that you have something to talk about. I want you to know that if you have you make one extra mortgage payment a year, or if you go on a half payment system with your mortgage company, it's going to reduce your mortgage from a 30-year to a 23-year mortgage. I want you to know that. I want you to know that about 80% of your mortgage is paid in taxes and insurance. And about 80% of that, you're going to be able to get back at tax time. I want you to know that. These are things that open up topics and open up conversations so people can start to envision how they're going to pay for their mortgage. They're not talking to me about 6% because I'm providing them with ways to pay for their mortgage. But anyway, these are the things that you can get. I'm going to go over those 5 things again. All right. First one is always build relationships. The second one is to stay in touch and be consistent in staying in touch. These are easy, gold in the palm of your hand things. Provide value when you talk to people. That's providing value means knowing your business, knowing what you want to talk about in real estate, what's going on in the market, what's going on in trends. People are concerned about interest rate. Interest rates are only about 6% right now, and they're still below the average. The average has been 7%, and even if we get to 7%, it's still the average real estate. It's still the average a mortgage percentage. Don't worry about that. It's time to get your properties now. When I first bought my house, Mr. Porter first bought his house was 13, and other people that I know was 20 something. So the interest rate doesn't matter. You need to get your house now while it's still low. Leverage your referrals. Okay. Use those referrals to make more money for yourself. And last but not least, be authentic. Be who you are, is do things the way you do them and say them the way you say them, but just be an expert at what you do. Don't try to do everything. Be an expert at what you do. I'm an expert buyer. I work with buyers. I'm an expert in buyers. If I get a listing, I might call one of my expert listing agents to help me list the property. All right, that's it. I'm done, Jasmine.
Outstanding, guys. I hope that you are embracing this information today. And when this video is posted, if you're anything like me, you're going to listen to it 3 or 4 times, because it's easy to listen to something. And as you heard Curtis say before, you go off on a thought trip, but this information, this insight is valuable. You guys have hundreds of thousands of dollars currently in the palm of your hands. There is no reason that you can't bring that to fruition, right? No matter where you are, if you have 100 people in your phone, you are in an excellent position. Guess why? You have gold in the palm of your hands. If you have 5,000 people, you're in an excellent position. Guess why? Because you still have gold in the palm of your hands. The bottom line is today is your starting point. You know where you're beginning from. And the goal is to reach out to every last one of those people so that you can get your leads and you can get your clients, and then you're going to add on to those, right? We're going to have to go ahead and close out in just a little bit, but I'll give you I'll reiterate a tidbit more. We've gone over this, but it bears repeating in today's training. Your neighbors, guys. These are people that you are invested in the same community as they are. Why not have their contact information? You know, your children's friends' parents, your children's school teachers, right? You know, professional contacts, the people that you know because you've had some type of professional endeavor. We can go on and on and on. The people who've already reached out to you before in the past for help in real estate, they visited your website. They don't go into file 13 when they don't call you back. They go into your follow up with them later category, and you're going to continue to follow up with those people. Leads, prospects, clients, your sports or community or religious social networks. If you're a Greek letter organization, you can add those. Previous school alumni, you know, local retailers, service providers. This list is extensive. And I dare say for those of you, even if you are, you may be newer to the area, none of that matters because we're not making excuses. We're making a way because there's a way to do every single thing that you desire to do. And the first and foremost thing is to know that it is possible. The sky is the limit. You can add as many people as humanly possible. There are over 7 billion people on this planet. Nearly half of those are online. So we will pick up as we talk about the goal, within arm's length and within all of these different categories that we're talking about. But for today, we want you guys to follow through with what we're talking about. Pay attention to the group chat because that information is going to go out in that group chat today. Copy it, as we said, paste it in your notes. You're going to make it your own tone, put your telephone number in there, your name, and add a picture of your business card, and you're going to send that out, okay? You should be completed with this activity. Today is Thursday. Of course, this is Resurrection Sunday coming up. So for those that do observe it, you don't have to work on Sunday, but you can do today, you can do tomorrow, you can do Saturday, you can do Tuesday or whatever that looks like. But the point of the matter is do not end until you have completed the objective. If that takes you 3 days, that's great. If it takes you a week, that's great too. Just do not end until you have completed this objective. Make sure that no matter what, you get through everybody in your contact list, and we will take it to the next level from there. All right. So I am going to end we're going to end the presentation for today, and we will pick back up because there's so much more information for us to give to you guys. Some is new and some is going to be familiar to you, but at the end of the day, it is all to benefit you guys. All right. So I'm going to stop there for now. And if anybody has any insight, any key takeaways, thoughts, questions, comments, it is your time. Go ahead, unmute yourselves and go ahead and add to the discussion.
Somebody better say something before I start talking.
I'll start talking.
Hey, Angela.
Hi, everyone. I just want to say thank you for bringing this up. One thing can you read that for me, please? I'm sorry. One thing that I appreciate is the going back to the basics. Sometimes when I get discouraged, just with things aren't as productive as I want them to be, I like to be able to go back and just do the things that are simple, the things that, like you said, they're right at the palm of our hand. So, there is no time where it's like, I don't want to say I don't have a free day, but there are times where I'm looking for, what's my next move? And this is something that I haven't done this year. And I know that it's going to produce business. I know that it's going to plant seeds. So I'm excited to do it again. I'm glad that we're bringing it up. We get distracted sometimes with things that aren't real estate related. And then sometimes we get distracted with clients who we're working with. But my takeaway is just to remember that while we're working with our clients and while they're going to, let's say our workload is going to get heavier with more clients, to continue to prospect and reach out to these people and make these touches. So I appreciate just, revisiting this topic and reminding us of something that's so simple, how important and lucrative it can be for our business.
Excellent, Angela. Excellent. Who's next?
Something else that I thought about, and I said last year that I was going to do. I mean, this is something that we could do more than once a year. So we could do it like quarterly, or at least semi-annually. We can do that. I wasn't as successful with that last year, but that is something that we can do. Just put it in our calendar to do on a quarterly basis. Because the person who responds today, or the person who doesn't respond today, rather, may be the person that responds in 3 months from now, because their situation may have changed, or they may know someone whose situation has changed.
That is excellent insight, Anita. And I do agree, we should be doing this throughout the year. So this is not a one and done proposition, guys. When we're talking about building, we're talking about establishing our presence and solidifying our position. We're talking about growing and progressing perpetually. We're talking about building relationships. You can't build a relationship with just a one attempt. So just like Anita said, this is something we need to do on a quarterly basis, right? Quarterly, you should be reaching out to, well, not quarterly, because every single day you should be reaching out to people that's within your sphere of influence. So if you, after you got through this portion of it, you choose 10 people every day, then that means throughout the year, you're going to continuously be reaching out to the people within your sphere of influence. So let's keep that in mind, but let's continue to update that information and transfer it to our book of business so that now these people go from being just sphere of influence to actually being people that are part of our 33 Touch campaign. Excellent insight, Anita. Who's next?
I was just going to say one thing before Darlene jumps in there. I want to challenge everybody on this call to go find that box of business cards that I gave you or that you got from Porterhouse. And I want you to look at those business cards and I want you to tell them that they have to go by the end of 2023. I mean, take them in your hand, put them in your car. I don't care where you got to have them, but get rid of all of the business cards that you have. Keep the box in your car if you have to. Get rid of all of the business cards you have by the end of 2023. And you tell me in 2024 how your business went since that challenge.
Outstanding challenge, Mr. Porter.
So can I say this too? Because it just made sense to me just now. When I do try to make sure that I always have business cards with me. I always have a stack in my car. And I always, like I said, what I did throughout the winter. But really, why are your business cards at your house? I mean, they really shouldn't be in your car.
Put them in your trunk.
You hit the nail on the head, Anita. That's right. Does anybody else have any key takeaways, insight, questions? Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and end the recording for today.
Darlene has something.
Come on, Darlene.
Oh, we're in the office and okay, it's echo. What I would say, my key takeaway is going to be that it's something that we need to do consistently. And I did do it a little bit more this year. And my things that I'm working on now are from when I did it the first time. So my listings that I have now are actually, or had, because they're gone, were from when I did the first text challenge. But one of the things I can say is that my sellers that I've had, they have watched like my information, things that I put on, social media, the things that I've talked about in terms of how you get your home to sell. And I can honestly say that that may be one of the reasons why their homes sold so fast, because I always talk about declutter. And that's something that they knew about before we got even into a listing agreement. So they were already kind of like groomed. So I do love the texting and I do love interacting with people that are in my sphere. And so my listings are everything, all my business that I've been doing is definitely from my sphere of influence. So using the golden ticket in our hand is definitely good for business. That's my takeaway.
Darlene, you hit the nail on the head too. The people that she's working with now are from when we did this last year, guys. So embrace it. These are tested and true. It doesn't matter what the market is, if it's the hottest real estate market you've ever seen, or a market that makes you question what's going on. It doesn't matter, because the gold is in the palm of your hands and you have an opportunity to talk to people every single where that you go. So your business does not have to be impacted by what's impacting other people's business, because it's within your power to make these contacts and make these connections, because people are going to buy and sell no matter what the real estate market is. The question is, are they going to buy and sell with you? Okay. So let's make sure that we are diligent, we're persistent, we remain in front of the people that already know, like, and trust us so that you can reach your 2023 in 2023. All right, guys? We're going to go ahead. Anita, if you would end the recording for today.
You mean 23 and 2023?
23 and 2023.
I want okay. I mean, if you do 2023, that's great.